One of the most elusive subgenres of horror has to be body horror. And there happens to be a new one out exclusively on Shudder right now called The Beach House. Let's discuss. The Beach House stars Liana Liberato, Noah LaGrosse, and is directed by Jeffrey A. Brown. What is up, guys? This does not happen too often, but we have a brand new movie to review. This is a 2020 horror film. Imagine that. Now, if you look on IMDb, it says 2019. It debuted, I believe, in October of 2019 at one of the film festivals. But we'll call it a 2020 movie. Just because this was the first opportunity I've had to see it. And it's exclusively on Shudder. So if you have a Shudder subscription, I'm not getting paid by Shudder. That's just how I watched it. And but I can't recommend Shudder enough. Seriously, I mean, for a horror fan, I freaking love Shudder. $5 a month, I think, last time I checked. But I mean, there's just so much great stuff on there. Great playlists. If you're into like Giallo and Italian horror like I am, there's a playlist for that. There's slashers. There's all kinds of stuff. Not getting paid by Shudder, by the way. I like promoting stuff to you guys that I think is worth your time. And of course, Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In. I mean, duh. But The Beach House, it's a body horror type of film. Quick plot synopsis. This couple, Emily and Randall, they go to this beach house. It's Randall's father's beach house. Randall's father's nowhere to be found when they get there. He's not even supposed to be there. So Randall's just trying to get away with his girlfriend. They're having some issues in the relationship that they need to kind of hammer out. And so that's why they're there, just to kind of get away, which is a good thing to do sometimes. Of course, shortly after they get there, they come upon this other couple that's in the house. And of course, like any of us, like, what the hell are you doing in here? It's an older couple, and the female, she basically had a relationship with Randall's father, and so that's her excuse. But one thing I like about this is this couple, you are not quite sure about them. You have your suspicions about them, like what the hell are they doing here in the first place? It's always fun when you have characters in isolated environments, and then these other characters come upon them, and the story could go either way. But then if you've seen the trailer for this movie, you know that this is like a body horror type of movie. So that question still looms in the air. Is this other couple trustable? Now, before I go any further, I have to give credit to Jason Smith from Sinister Cinema Reviews. He actually messaged me and he said, "Have you seen The Beach House yet?" Never even heard of the movie. So I went on YouTube and I checked out the trailer, and I was like, wow, this actually looks pretty interesting. I am into body horror movies. I actually reviewed Color Out of Space last year, or maybe it was this year, and I quite enjoyed that, actually. And usually Jason never steers me wrong. I think he's got really good taste in movies. Plus, he's got the most soothing voice you could ever listen to. I like to listen to Sinister Cinema Reviews on my drives to work sometimes.
Stripped of its heart. Now, I don't want to say it's bad, because I don't think it's bad. I think there's a decent amount of good in the movie.
He's just one of those guys that can park the camera in front of him, talk for 30 minutes, and it be interesting and compelling. Not too many YouTubers can do that. And also, real quick, a really good friend of mine, Matt Fessel, he actually works in the business. When I first started YouTube, he had a channel called Flick Fanatics with his brother, John Fessel. We've been good friends ever since. He works in sound design and other departments. He's a filmmaker on his own. He's got a new slasher movie called Hacked. And it's basically about a podcaster who is trying to get this guest, and he becomes obsessed with getting the guest on the show. Maybe some might say too obsessed. Here's what the poster looks like for the movie. And it sounds really interesting to me. And so I wanted to promote this because, you know, A, he's a great friend, and B, it's independent film, and anytime I get a chance to promote independent films, I, of course, want to do it, especially if it's horror. But anyway, back to The Beach House. This movie, the pacing of it is kind of peculiar because the first half of the movie, it feels kind of slow-paced. You know, they're focusing on that relationship, who these characters are, especially this couple that comes into play. But one thing that sparked my interest was the character Emily. I think she's an extremely important character in this movie. I think the actress that plays her, Liana Liberato, is fabulous in this. And I liked the character's journey, actually. She's the character that is motivated. She wants a career. She wants to go to grad school. And her boyfriend, he really has no motivation whatsoever. He's at a point in his life where he doesn't know what he wants to do. He doesn't want to go to college. There are people like this. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you need a break to figure out what you want to do. But they're both at a crossroads in their relationship. And her career field of choice kind of factors into the story, actually, because she's like an astrobiologist. And it brings up discussions that are really thought-provoking, like the planet Earth. And this is the only planet that we know of that can sustain life. More than likely, all the other planets in the galaxy, the solar system, they probably don't have life. And so that is an interesting concept in and of itself. Like, what is it about our planet that enables us to have, human beings? And so that idea factors into the idea of like chemistry and playing with nature and like the delicate balance of life. And if you change the chemistry, of every living creature on this planet, I mean, who knows if things can change? Because really, it's about evolution. When we started out as the caveman, how did we get here? So what if you combine that with like a body horror type of movie? Without giving too much away, I will say that you're going to get those like Lovecraftian vibes. There's like these radio warnings throughout because of what's going on in the world outside of this couple at this beach house. I guess they get to the beach house at like the exact time that all this shit starts going on. And so there's just a lot of questions throughout. And I'm making this a non-spoiler review because I want you to go in this and kind of be surprised. But what I will tell you is that this is a freaking horror movie. Like, this is a horror movie. There are really gnarly effects in this movie, practical effects for the most part. I don't know if there's any CGI. If there is, it's pulled off very well. But the really kind of gross metamorphosis type body horror that we get. Like, there's a scene where Emily, her foot, she sets her foot in the ocean. And we know that there's some weird shit going on in the ocean. And of course, her foot like has a reaction after getting in the ocean. And let me just say, it's like some really creepy looking stuff going on inside of her foot. And this is nothing new. We've seen this in so many different movies. You can compare this to like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Even recent movies like Color Out of Space, which I just mentioned, and Starry Eyes, which is a movie that you might not have seen, which I highly, highly recommend, that deals with, a metamorphosis. Same thing here. There's one moment where this character, she has like these white eyes and she just like thrusts through the front door, and it's pretty creepy. But I can't foot stomp the character Emily. I really enjoyed her throughout this just because her chosen skill set, she was able to use it to combat what was going on throughout without giving anything away. Whether she lives or dies, you're going to have to find out on your own. But I was highly entertained by the journey. And by the way, Emily really reminded me of a cross between like Megan Fox and Jennifer Lawrence. She just really did. Don't you guys think? Now, as far as any cons, the first half of this movie is very slow moving. I will say that. If you're tired like I was, you can struggle a little bit. But there is a point in this movie where it kicks into high gear and you can never look away. And I don't mind that because they want to spend time to build the characters, build what's going on, maybe go into the lore of the plot a little bit. So it really sets the table. They spend a little bit too long setting the table, but I give them a pass because it's still highly enjoyable. So anyway, guys, I'm going to give this movie, I'm struggling with the rating. It's either a high humdrum or a low purchase worthy. I'll give it a low purchase worthy. I think it earns that just because it used practical effects, which I think is really awesome. And it has some really chilling moments in it, to be honest. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on The Beach House. Looking forward to hearing them. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.